Hi and welcome to Tabletop Mini Showcase. I'm Jim and in this video I'm going to be tackling my Warhammer Blood Bowl collection. Let's get to it. Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Blood Bowl is, Blood Bowl basically takes the fantasy world of Warhammer and American football, or football as they call it in America, and blends the two together. The resulting game is a absolutely ridiculous mix of orcs, elves, dwarfs, ogres, tomb kings, humans, all battling on a football pitch to try and score points. It's a very zany, kooky idea for a game, and that is exactly what I love about it. In a way, it kind of works like game Inception. You have this fantasy world, and then within that fantasy world, you have a fantasy sport, similar to Quidditch in Harry Potter or pod racing in Star Wars. Now, technically, Blood Bowl and Warhammer are totally different universes, but that's really just because Games Workshop doesn't want to have to worry about continuity between their games. The first edition of Blood Bowl was released in 1986, I believe, and it comprised of a cardboard pitch and teams made up of several cardboard players that people could use to play the game rather than using plastic or metal miniatures. There were also metal miniatures available from Games Workshop, but I believe that most people probably played the game with just the cardboard players that were included in the box set. The game has since gone on to have several revised editions and add-ons such as Death Zone, Dungeon Bowl, and variations such as Blood Bowl 7s. Unlike most of the games released by Games Workshop, Blood Bowl is played on a grid system, which makes playing the game a lot quicker and easier, as you don't have to faff about with rulers or tape measures. You simply move your characters within the squares on the pitch. This makes for a very fast-paced and easy to learn game that two people can play within a relatively short amount of time. Although many of these minis are now out of production, you can still find them on auction sites such as eBay or places like Facebook Marketplace. Despite Games Workshop's tendency to prioritise its other games over Blood Bowl, it has actually amassed a really large following online. And during the years when Games Workshop weren't selling Blood Bowl items, the game still continued to thrive and have a fantastic online community. Personally, I've been collecting Blood Bowl minis and nostalgia since around the 3rd edition, and over the years I have amassed quite a large collection. The vast majority of these minis have been sat waiting to be painted for many years now, and so I decided now is the time to get them built, based, cleaned up and ready to be painted. Now, I knew that this was going to be quite a monumental task, but in truth I didn't realise just how big a task it would actually be. As I have several hundreds of these minis, just gluing them to bases took me hours and a lot of bottles of glue. And when it comes to assembling a lot of these older minis, they're really not that easy to assemble. Because they are metal, a lot of them require pinning and are really difficult to get to stick together, and they have a lot of gaps between the joints where they do stick together. Despite all of this, I knew it was something that I needed to get done, and so in order to best use my time, I figured the best way to do it would be to take them to my bedroom where I sit and watch Netflix and YouTube, and that way I can glue them together whilst I'm watching TV at night, and in the future while I'm watching Netflix or YouTube or whatever, I can just sit and clean those mold lines off of them without eating up too much of my actual painting time. As most of these old Warhammer minis that I own were bought from eBay, they are in not the greatest of condition, and so the process of putting them together did become a little bit frustrating, and I was quite often reminded of some of the worst aspects of buying minis from online sites like eBay. Incoming ran in 3, 2, 1. Technically they're already base coated, but generally when I buy minis online, I don't trust that people have removed the mould lines from them, because most people don't remove mould lines, because most people are f***ing idiots. Remove mould lines from your minis. Don't start painting them with loads of mould lines all over them. Don't matter how good you paint them, they're going to look shit if you leave your mould lines on it. And it's very annoying when you buy minis and they've got paint all over them and they've got mould lines all over them, because it means I've either got to like try and scrape those mould lines off and not disturb too much of the paint, or I've got to strip all the paint off of them and go back and base the entire thing again, which just creates another job for me. So either get rid of your mould lines before you paint them, or just don't paint them, because there's no point in painting them if you're going to leave mould lines on them, because they're going to look shit. I hate it when people leave mould lines on minis and then base coat them. What a way to waste somebody's time. Nobody wants minis with mould lines all over them. They look shit. Either clean them or leave them and don't paint them, so I can clean them and then paint them. Don't make me have to clean all the paint off so that I can remove mould lines to go back and paint the again. Real annoying. Yeah, I can be a real ray of sunshine when I'm in a bad mood. Anyway, now that I have all those models assembled, I figured now would be as good a time as any to document what it is that I have, so that moving forward I can best plan the content that I make using these miniatures. Now, a little heads up, when I am actually discussing what edition these minis are associated with, I'm talking about the editions of the game that were released as box sets, meaning first edition, second edition, third edition. I am not talking about the living rule book or where they sit on the timeline, as when you try to look online to see what edition a lot of these minis are from, people will say they're from the 5th edition or the 6th edition, and it gets really confusing. So to make it easier, all I've done is just said each mini is associated with this edition. That way people know roughly what period they're from, and if they're looking for them online, they'll have a rough idea of what edition those minis are associated with. So before anyone starts sounding off in the comments, giving it all the "Jim, actually I think you will find that is a 3.7th edition Orc blocker," I just want to clarify. I am not trying to sell these minis. I'm not trying to start any kind of Blood Bowl museum. I am simply trying to give people a rough idea of when these minis were released and what edition of the game they are most closely associated with. Alright? So... Shut your mouth! No problem, John. Shut the f*** up, you cunt! Shut it! Okay, so with that said, let's get to listing these minis. We have 15 plastic 2nd edition humans, 2 metal 2nd edition stunned humans, 16 plastic 2nd edition orcs, 16 plastic 2nd edition dwarves, 5 metal 2nd edition dwarves, 1 metal 1st edition dwarf, 2 metal 2nd edition stunned dwarves, 16 plastic 2nd edition elves, 6 metal 2nd edition halflings, 13 metal 3rd edition halflings, 3 metal 2nd edition minotaurs, 1 metal 2nd edition ogre, 18 plastic 3rd edition humans, 1 plastic 3rd edition custom stunned human, 30 plastic 3rd edition orcs, 12 metal 3rd edition amazons, 16 metal 3rd edition humans, 27 metal 3rd edition necromancer / undead, 12 metal 3rd edition chaos, 12 metal 3rd edition vampires, 12 metal 3rd edition goblins, 12 metal 3rd edition high elves, 12 metal 3rd edition wood elves, 21 metal 3rd edition dark elves, 16 metal 3rd edition Human Marauders, 14 metal 3rd edition Norse, 12 metal 3rd edition Chaos Dwarfs / Goblins, 12 metal 3rd edition Seraphon, 18 metal / plastic 3rd edition Khemri, 9 metal 3rd edition Ogres and 1 Goblin, 11 metal 1st edition Snotlings, 3 metal 3rd edition Treemen, 2 metal 3rd edition Chaos Dwarf Bull Centaurs, 1 metal 3rd edition Croxigore. Now on to the star players. A 2nd edition Thrud the Barbarian, a 3rd edition Griff Oberwald, a 3rd edition Mighty Zug, a 3rd edition Puggy Bacon Breath, a 3rd edition Halfling Master Chef, a 3rd edition Amazon Unicorn Lucky Luck, a 3rd edition Zara the Slayer, a 3rd edition Ramtut the Third, a 3rd edition Withergrasp Double Drool, a 3rd edition Prince Moranion, a 3rd edition Hawk-on Heartripper, a 2nd or 3rd edition Human and Dwarf Ref, I ain't too sure which edition they're from, 2 Amazon Cheerleaders, 1 Human Cheerleader, and the 4 Blood Bowl Cups. I also have this 2006 Blood Bowl coin. I can't remember exactly where it's from, but it's a pretty cool little addition to the collection. Over the next year, my plan is to try and get as many of these minis completed as possible so that I can create some fun content for you guys to watch, and also have a bunch of minis for me to game with my friends or family members that happen to be into Warhammer and other tabletop games. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope for some of you it's been a bit of a trek down memory lane. If you have enjoyed this video, do let me know in the comments. That way I'll know to make more videos like this in the future. Don't forget to hit the like and share and subscribe button, as it really does help the channel grow, which in turn makes it easier for me to keep creating content for you guys to watch. If you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming videos, hit the little notification bell. That way you'll be updated as soon as one of my videos upload and you won't miss out. Alright, thanks for watching guys. Action!